Have you ever noticed how quickly people decide who you are? Not who you might become, not who you feel like inside, but who you are allowed to be. One word, one label, and suddenly, your entire identity is decided. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre had a famous idea. He said that we exist first, and we create our identity later. That means we aren't born as someone. We have to build who we are, brick by brick, over a lifetime. But society? Society is impatient. It doesn't want to wait. It wants to put you in a box. It slaps a label on you. You're a teacher. You're a loser. You're a success. You're a troublemaker. Why? Because a person inside a box is manageable. You're predictable, which, according to society, is a compliment. You are safe, but a man without a name? That is pure chaos. Chaos sounds scary, unless it's someone else's life. And the story of the piano man taught us this bitter truth. Society doesn't accept who you are. It accepts who it needs you to be. Think about it. As long as he was silent, everyone loved him. They were in awe. But the moment he spoke, the spell was broken. He wasn't a legend anymore. He was just Andreas. And people, they don't like ordinary stories. They want magic. They want a miracle. What kind of despair drives a 20-year-old boy into 4 months of dead silence? What compels him to sever every tie with his blood, to outrun the ghost of his own past? This wasn't a game. It wasn't the mercy of amnesia. It was a calculated, desperate act of social suicide. Andreas was carrying a secret that felt like a death sentence in his rigid Bavarian village. He was gay. Trapped between his truth and his traditions, he was paralyzed by terror, terrified that his identity would shatter his family and turn his world against him. His friends later admitted that he felt suffocated there. When he came to England, his plan was actually to end his life. He walked into the sea, but he couldn't go through with it. At that point, a name becomes heavy. It becomes a burden. The name Andreas Grassl wasn't just a label. It was a symbol of social roles he couldn't play, of family expectations, of a secret he was hiding. So, he rejected it. By sinking into silence, he turned himself into nobody. His brain essentially hit the off switch on his identity to protect him. But the doctors? They were divided. The British doctors diagnosed him with severe depression and psychosis, but a German psychiatrist, Dr. Dieter Naber, saw it differently. He believed Andreas got stuck in his own performance. He said that after a while, Andreas was simply too ashamed or too scared to break the silence, so he just kept going. And that reveals a strange paradox. When you live without a name, that new freedom can actually become a trap. His silence became a tighter prison than his old life ever was. This idea feels a little heavy, yeah? It shows us how trying to reinvent yourself can backfire in the most tragic way. If this thought stays with you for a moment, that's a good sign. If you're still here, leave a like. And if you want to explore this deeper, subscribe. All right, back to the question, because this is where it gets personal. This paradox raises some heavy questions, like when is the construction of you actually finished? At what age do you look in the mirror and say, okay, I am complete? Sigmund Freud called this the ego. Think of it as a middleman. It stands between your inner world and the outside reality. But sometimes that middleman gets in the way. It becomes a wall. Ask yourself, do the identities we build actually help us, or do they hurt us? Look at social media. We build these perfect profiles. They look great online. But in real life, they just create disappointment. So maybe the answer lies in our choices. Look at Andreas. Online, in chat rooms, he was Scatman. To the world, he was the piano man. But the real Andreas? He was lost somewhere between those 3 masks, hiding in the shadows. Different masks for different rooms. Same exhaustion at the end. His story teaches us something important. Running away from your name is like running out of a burning building. You leave the house because it's damaged, and you look for a bunker, a safe place. Andreas managed to stay silent for 4 months. That takes serious willpower. Sometimes silence protects us, like staying quiet to save a relationship. But here's the catch. Even in that silence, even in that freedom, you can feel trapped. Why? Because the ego demands to be seen. It wants to belong. You can run from yourself for a while, you can find temporary peace, but eventually, the ego wins. You have to come back, and often, that return causes even more trauma. So, here is the final question. If you erase your name, do you erase your ego? This story doesn't end with a full stop. It ends with a crack, deep in the walls of the soul. Because when a name disappears, you don't just lose a label. Something fundamental, right at your core, starts to shake. Some traditions whisper that losing yourself is the only way to truly be found. Others warn us that being forgotten is the final form of death. So, what is that shaking feeling? Is it fear, the terror of your old identity crumbling away? Or is it relief, the lightness of finally dropping a heavy load you've carried for years? Psychology calls it survival. Mysticism calls it absolute freedom. And now, you are face to face with the quietest question of all. If your name, your past, and all your masks vanished like smoke today, in that empty space, what would be left of you?